if we were on the Wash, I wouldn't have to introduce Tammy, but I'll say just a few words about Tammy, who works with me at Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust, was formerly with Natural England, and prior to that around the Wash. So green investment in Greater Lincolnshire. Over to you, Tammy.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Paul. I'll just sort out my presentation. Can everybody see that?
Yep, it's there, Tammy. Thank you.
Great, thanks. So the issue we're facing is twofold. There's the climate change crisis, and that can be evidenced by the natural environment. And this is the green wing orchid that is now flowering 10 days earlier than it did over 100 years ago, which is evidence collated by the Natural History Museum. We can also directly evidence through the natural world the biodiversity crisis. This is the matted sea lavender, which was found in Greater Lincolnshire, but down to land use change by humans within Lincolnshire, we have now lost this species to the county. This has been recognised within government policy, and we've seen the delivery of a 25-year environment plan that actually says nature needs to be recovered and climate issues need to be addressed. And they're putting their money where their mouth is. We heard earlier about the two Nature for Climate funding streams for trees and peats, but another one is the Natural Investment Readiness Fund. And a group of us applied earlier this year for the first round of this funding, which is being overseen and managed by the Environment Agency. We were successful. We're one of 27 that have been awarded across England, and we secured the largest award of £100,000 from the Environment Agency, but we are including match funds beyond that from Anglian Water, Catch, which is the industry-led partnership on the Humber Nature Partnership, the Lincolnshire County Council and Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust. Our project is called, after much debate between the partners, is called the Green Investment in Greater Lincolnshire. So for short, GIGL. We have established a steering group. We haven't met yet. Lincolnshire Wildlife Trust are the lead partner in dealing with all the finances and related activities. Members of that steering group include some of the funders, but also industry representation, local authority representation, and local landowners. We will work directly with a task group I've set up across Greater Lincolnshire for looking and considering with the local authorities how biodiversity net gain will be delivered across Greater Lincolnshire. So we've developed a draft vision and mission, and we will be taking these drafts as a first step in delivery for this project to a conference. That conference will be held in March 2022. Obviously, there'll be a lot of background work prior to that conference. So this will be the first major public engagement event in the project. That runs alongside, at the moment, we're trying to recruit a project officer for the project, and obviously setting up contracts with our contractors, which include Entrade. Some of you may have heard of them. They've done a lot on water credit trading down in the south of the country. The Lincoln Institute of Agriculture and Technology, because they have a lot of knowledge around soils, around water, around biodiversity, and also solicitors, because this will require legal frameworks. So the outputs, which are critical for the success of this project, that has to be delivered by December 2022. We will establish project pipeline registries for biodiversity, carbon and water credit projects direct with landowners across Greater Lincolnshire. so that any investors can come and say, we want to buy biodiversity credits, and we can speak to them about what projects are on those registries. So obviously we will be engaging with landowners across, and the application, we had multiple letters of support from landowners for this project. We also host 2 ELMS tests, which are the agri-environment tests. So we've got a huge baseline, and I've got a very strong working relationship with the NFU. So I have no concerns about the landowners. We're going to quantify what credits and rates they should be sold to. So we're going to look at existing carbon markets, look at biodiversity and water, and establish what sort of rates and who is likely to want to invest in them. And then the last part of the project is to establish for Greater Lincolnshire, with our local planning authorities, supported by our catchment based partnerships and our nature partnerships, a special purpose vehicle for Greater Lincolnshire, along with the tools and legal documentation and exemplar case studies of how it could work, a whole set of basically equipment for us to deliver and enable a transparent, fair and equitable trading platform within Greater Lincolnshire for biodiversity, for carbon and water credit trading. This will enable us to address both the climate and biodiversity crises. It will build on what's coming within the Environment Bill, which we expect to get royal assent in November. It'll help deliver towards the biodiversity net gain. Complexity of how that will be delivered locally, will deliver against local plans and their biodiversity opportunity maps, delivering towards net zero, and ensuring that our water courses of all sizes are improved for people and nature. And we can look at stacking this against such public funds as the Environmental Land Management Scheme. Our outcomes ultimately are to address the crises, also to improve access to blue and green infrastructure for our local communities, diversify and strengthen our economy, and ensure that Lincolnshire continues to have the pioneer spirit it has always had in leading in the environmental sector. Thank you.